Our headlines: Mindanao leaders and some agencies reject calls for Mindanao secession.
National Security Council and Department of National Defense ready to use force against Mindanao separation plan from Philippines.
Revolving federalism along with shorter chains gains criticism from minority.
Public utility vehicles allowed to renew the registration amid Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program deadline consolidation extension.
And the Department of Environment and Natural Resources joins international air quality research with NASA. Good evening, bringing the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is your TV News Thread. Following calls for Mindanao separation, some leaders from Mindanao and some government agencies have expressed their disagreement over this matter. Mia Layagin tells us more.
We are one for United Philippines. This is the response of some Mindanao leaders and government agencies following the calls for separation of Mindanao from the rest of the Philippines. In separate statements, provincial governments of Maguindanao del Sur and Sultan Kudarat were firm in their refusal for Mindanao secession, saying that it will hinder efforts in building a stronger Philippines. Maguindanao del Sur Governor Bay Mariam Sangki Mangudadatu emphasized that separation will not provide solutions to the problems raised by Mindanao. She added that separation may affect the constitutional rights of their people and that they aim to maintain democracy and unity in their rights appeal. Sultan Kudarat Governor Datu Pax Ali Mangudadatu shared the same sentiment, saying that problems faced in Mindanao can be responded to without separating from the rest of the Philippines, which will defer long-time connection of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. He further highlighted that the connection of Mindanao to the rest of the country will only be maintained if the Philippines remains united, especially when it comes to responding to the needs and rights of the people. Meanwhile, some agencies have also released statements rejecting the idea of Mindanao secession, like TESDA, National Security Council, Department of Budget and Management, and Department of Justice. Their statements mostly emphasized the need to maintain the country's unity, democracy, and security without cutting off ties with the rest of the country. This is Mia Layagin for EuroTV News.
In related stories, the security agencies have been strong with their commitment to maintain the peace, stability, and integrity in sustaining the national territory. Both the National Security Council and the Department of National Defense issued a statement with their commitments to prevent any attempt to secede any part of the Philippine sovereignty. More from this report. The National Security Council is ready to take any step regarding the plan to separate Mindanao from the Philippines. In a statement, NSC advisor Eduardo Año said that the Philippine government will not hesitate to use the authorities and the government forces to fight and stop any kind of planned separation of the country's territory. He said any kind of attempt to secede from the part of the country is in opposition to the government that only wants to ensure the sovereignty and integrity of the national territory. Año has reaffirmed their commitment to preserve and protect the security, stability, and territorial integrity of the Philippines. The NSC also continues to call on Filipinos to be vigilant against any attempt to undermine the aspirations of peace and prosperity for all. In a separate statement, Defense Secretary Gilberto Todoro said that the Defense Department will remain in protecting the sovereignty of the state and integrity of the national territory as stated in the Constitution. He said that the DND will strictly implement their mandate on both inside and outside the country. The proposal to separate Mindanao from the Philippines was undermined after former President Rodrigo Duterte's allegation against President Bongbong Marcos that he was using drugs came out.
ALVIN PELOBELLO for EuroTV News.
Meanwhile, amid the ongoing discussions to change the economic provisions of the Constitution, the Senate of the Philippines started its deliberation on the resolution in both houses number 6. But amid the hearings, a term evolving federalism emerged. With this, the lawmakers in the Congress calm it down. Here's the full details.
The Senate Committee on Constitutional Amendments has begun its deliberations on resolution in both houses number 6, which seeks to have an economic provisions in the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Correct Movement head Orion Perez Dumdum, a resource person of Chacha on Senate, immediately echoed the needs of evolving federalism to strengthen the regions in the country. Dumdum further said that the constitutional system is disintegrating, so he said that this system should be changed to open the opportunity for the foreign investors to invest in the country.
By removing all anti-FDI restrictions from the Constitution, the Philippines can at the very least have a fighting chance in being able to remain on the short lists of foreign companies seeking to invest within the ASEAN region. Eventually, if we play our cards right, the Philippines will succeed in doubling, tripling, quadrupling, or quintupling the amount of job-creating foreign direct investment.
Resolution in both houses number 6 was passed by the Senate last month because President Bongbong Marcos Jr. said he wanted the Senate to uphold the implementation of the charter change so that an economic provisions will be on the top of amending the Constitution. But the lawmakers in the lower chamber of Congress calmed it down. In a statement, Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel said that the removal of the economic restrictions on the Constitution should not be a bait for false interest in dynasties of foreign corporations from other countries. Manuel also said that the political implications of the senators' desire to change the Constitution not only focuses on the economic provisions. The Gabriela Party List, on the other hand, maintained their statement that they did not agree with People's Initiative and even with RBH number 6. They said that the government should focus on the country's important problems such as low wages, unemployment, and the constant increase in the prices of basic commodities, and not on the changing of the Constitution. ALVIN PELOBELLO for EuroTV News.
With 7 days before the reopening of voter registration, the COMELEC and Bank declares the February 12, 2024 as National Voters' Day. According to Chairperson George Erwin Garcia, this celebration will emphasize the essence of being a registered voter in the Philippines and to explain the process of registration and election process. More details on my report. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC and Bank, has decided to declare as National Voters' Day the reopening of voter registration on February 12, 2024 for the national and local election or 2025 NLE. In a COMELEC statement, Chairperson George Erwin Garcia said that the declaration of National Voters' Day is to emphasize the importance of being a registered voter and to explain the registration and election process to Filipinos. The COMELEC has set up various activities on National Voters' Day to entertain the registrants and encourage the public to register. For registered voters from vulnerable sectors such as senior citizens, persons with disabilities, persons deprived of liberty, indigenous people, and members of indigenous cultural communities, the COMELEC will offer free voter certification on National Voters' Day. In the announcement, a Filipino who is of legal age or 18 years old by May 12, 2025 or the day of election may register. A resident of the Philippines for at least 1 year and in the place wherein a Filipino proposes to vote for at least 6 months immediately preceding the 2025 NLE. The Commission will begin the Register Anywhere program to be implemented in all capital cities and towns and in highly urbanized cities. The COMELEC also offers off-site and satellite registration where you can register in your respective barangays, malls, schools, and other establishments. Mall registration will be available. From February 12 to September 30, qualified citizens of the Philippines can register. The commission offices will open at 8 in the morning and close at 5 in the afternoon. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Euro TV News. We'll be taking a very short break. Don't get away as Euro TV News thread returns.
Public utility vehicle are now granted an opportunity to renew their registration as long as it's confirmed by the Transportation Board. This new mandate from the Land Transportation Office will be effective amid extension of consolidation deadline for jeepneys. Henry Nicolas tells us more.
The Land Transportation Office or LTO said all public utility vehicles or PUVs would be allowed to renew their registration amid the consolidation deadline extension of the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program or the PUVMP. According to LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Vigor Mendoza II, it also covers the PhilCabs and UV Express units as long as they have obtained confirmation from the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or the LTFRB. On the other hand, Mendoza is now conducting visits in all of the agency's regional offices in a bid to hit the ground running in the implementation of the No Registration, No Travel policy. Mendoza also discussed the nationwide implementation of the No Registration, No Travel policy in partnership with other law enforcement agencies like the Philippine Coast Guard, the Philippine National Police, and the local government units. Based on the data of the LTO, owners of a total of 272,233 delinquent motor vehicles have renewed their expired registration from January 1 to 31 this year. This is Henry Nicolas for Euro TV News.
Following aims for the country's development in food production, the Department of Agriculture has engaged with modernization of technologies related with the said sector. Here's Vanessa Cleofas for the details.
Able to boost the production of food in the Philippines, especially in agriculture sector, the Department of Agriculture or DA pushed to modernize the use of technology in the said sectors. According to Agriculture Secretary Francisco Laurel Chu Jr., the use of technology will increase food production, improve farm productivity, and raise the possible income of farmers. In an event attended by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Secretary Chu, some farmers witnessed the cutting-edge technology of rice combined harvester. President Marcos emphasized that modernization in agriculture industry will help the farmers to be steady in their production. He also reported that the DA attributed the 1.5% increase in rice production last year. In a result with that, the Philippines managed to lower the volume of imports rice to 3.5 million from 3.8 million in 2002. That is why the President believed that through modernization, the Philippines will be able to steady the food production in the country in the coming months and years. Aside from this, Marcos said that the government will distribute more solar-powered irrigation system to provide steady supply of water in more than 180,000 hectares of rice land. He also set 31 billion pesos this year in DA's National Rice Program, which plans to spend for post-harvest facilities, extension services, research and development, and irrigation services. Vanessa Cleofas for EuroTV News.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources joins international air quality research with National Aeronautics and Space Administration or NASA. This is part of their initiative to improve the air quality in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. More from this report. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR is set to collaborate with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration or NASA. This was the statement of Environment Secretary Maria Antonia Yulo Loizaga last Sunday. It plans to work together to address the air pollution problem facing the Greater Manila area. According to Secretary Loizaga, NASA will conduct scientific research flight designed specifically to study the atmosphere in Metro Manila and the surrounding region. NASA and DENR staffs are set to work on the project. Loizaga insisted this will help to understand the air pollution in Metro Manila in order to create a progressive solution to the matter and address the problems that affect public health and also to address the climate change. This partnership was called Airborne and Satellite Investigation of Asian Air Quality. It consists of NASA experts from the United States, DENR, National Institute of Environment Research in South Korea, University Kebangsaan, Malaysia, and Thailand's Geoinformatics and Space Technology Development Agency. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the project includes the Philippine Space Agency, Manila Observatory, Ateneo de Manila University, and the University of the Philippines. This is KRIZZA Lopez for EuroTV News.
A buy-bust operation was executed by police authorities where they arrested military personnel who possessed illegal drugs in the town of Tarlac. Don Villegas for the report.
3 military personnel were arrested after authorities conducted the buy-bust operation where they obtained 50 grams of illegal drugs in Tarlac. The illegal drugs seized by the police have a value of 340,000 pesos. The suspects were identified as Corporal Venancio D. Del Moral, Corporal Juan Carlo G. Feliciano, and Sergeant Modesto D. Rosquero. According to the authorities, the suspects are considered as a high-valued target due to their active duty status. A .45 caliber service firearm with a magazine and 4 bullets, a car, and a marked money were also recovered from the suspects. The suspects are facing a non-bailable case of violation of Section 5 or sale of dangerous drugs in relation to Section 26B, conspiracy to sell under Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2001. This is Dan Villegas for EuroTV News.
Girl power indeed, because in 2024 Grammys Awards, girls do lead the list of awards of this year's prestigious award. Taylor Swift, R&B artist SZA, and pop singer Miley Cyrus all won Grammys on Sunday as women dominated this year's Top Music Award. More details with Angelica Galvez.
Let's step into the world of entertainment with the latest news and updates. Girl power indeed, because in the 2024 Grammy Awards, girls do lead the list of awards for this year's prestigious awarding. Taylor Swift, R&B artist SZA, and pop singer Miley Cyrus all won Grammy Award this Sunday as women dominated this year's Top Music Award. Taylor Swift won the Album of the Year at Grammys for Midnight. It's already a huge honor, but it's even sweeter for the American pop diva, who is the first to have won the prize 4 times. No other performers in the Grammy's 66-year history has won 4 times. Frank Sinatra, Paul Simon, and Stevie Wonder all took home just 3 awards. Meanwhile, Miley Cyrus received her first Grammy Awards for Best Pop Solo Performance for Flowers, followed by 2 Grammy Awards in one night, including Record of the Year for the song Flowers. SZA, who won the award for Best R&B Song with Snooze, arrived from backstage while changing costume to accept her trophy from presenter Lizzo. Here are some of the winners of this year's Grammy Awards. What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish was awarded as Song of the Year. Victoria Monet was named Best New Artist, and Harry Styles' album Harry's House as the Best Album of the Year. In another showbiz news, a successful concert indeed, as the last stop of the world tour of South Korean boy band ENHYPEN was flooded by the crowd. Early in the morning, Philo Engines went to New Clark City Stadium Interlac to fall in line. In an interview, ENHYPEN said that they like some Filipino delicacies like mango and durian. And before the boy band returned to Korea, Engine member Sunghoon accepted the Ginto Challenge as early Valentine gift for the Philo Engines. The video almost gathered almost 7 million views and 2.2 million likes on TikTok. And that's the latest news. I am Angelica Galvez. Back to you, Alvin and KRIZZA.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit yourtvph.com for more news and information. Again, this is KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our broadcast live in our social media accounts and via Pinoy Extreme channel. I'm Alvin PELOBELLO. This is your TV News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.